First up, and hopefully, if this is the right news, the hydrogen is the new black news.
It is.
Toyota have got the answer to electric cars, and it says it's not petrol, it's not diesel, and it's not steam powered. Just in case you thought it was, but it is lighter than air. What we've got a bad reputation for what it is with the Hindenburg airship. But it's, of course, a lot safer these days, and it is hydrogen. In fact, hydrogen that powers Toyota's new flagship vehicle is the Mirai. Am I guessing
Mirai?
that right? I think we have a picture of it
Oh,
here.
sorry.
Yeah,
Hang on.
here it
I
is.
thought we
Here
did
it is.
pictures. That's a motorway. Ooh, I've got one here. That's an. Oh yes, the horror. Have you ever heard the audio for that?
No.
There's a guy doing a voiceover for it. And he goes, the horror. And they go, this guy's got a really weird voice. And they worked out that it was sped up far too fast. So we actually had quite this deep American voice. Yes, that's how I always travel across the Atlantic in the Hindenburg. Yes, that's my favourite Led Zeppelin album cover.
I was just going to say that you wouldn't have this car that you're going to show us now.
Yeah,
on the cover of a
no.
Led
Would you
Zeppelin
have
album.
this? Oh, look, it's my new album cover. Or would you have Led Zeppelin 1? I think it is. Fantastic. How many more times? That's the car.
The new and surprisingly agile and sporty Mirai is that we're going to call it Mirai is a second generation of Toyota zero-emission motors from the Japanese car maker. And it says improvements have helped it boost fuel economy by 10% to achieve 30% increase in range to 400 miles. Although hydrogen is the principal source of the power that drives it, the Mirai is actually an electric car driven by electricity and electric motors. This is because it uses a special fuel cell which acts as a mini onboard power station, taking the hydrogen gas and through a creating electric power from the fusion of hydrogen from the fuel tank and oxygen atoms sucked in from the atmosphere. The other byproduct is H2O, which is lovingly known as water. That's what dribbles out of the exhaust pipe, and it's so pure you can drink it. It sounds like it's like an episode of Tomorrow's World where you get the presenter to try and go,
where the F is Judith Ann when you need her.
Yes, indeed, the car is such a marvel that it even purifies the air around it.
That sounds good.
And it goes, what goes in, it sucks out thanks to the onboard chemical reaction. Which was a hit by Bee Gees.
So this is the answer, isn't it? Not electric cars with batteries, but a hydrogen version of the internal combustion engine. So the best answer we've had all along is the original answer we've had all along, and a motor within the car that produces its own power to drive the car, which you put some fuel, not petrol this time or diesel, but hydrogen into the car, and then it makes the air cleaner. Because let's not forget, there is a confusion about what comes out of the exhaust of the car as being the worst stuff that comes off a car, and that is a complete misnomer. That's a lie. The stuff that's really bad now, because it's not 1972, we're not driving cars that do 15 mpg. We're driving cars with catalytic converters. I would argue the worst stuff that comes off a car now, and I live on a busy road, is the brake pads, is brake dust.
Yeah.
So you haven't solved that problem with an electric car. When you come up with that answer, then we'll have a discussion about. Look, the answer really is, if you want to go down the shops, get off your fat ass and walk to the shop on the corner. Unless you're disabled, unless you have real problems, walk. It'll be good for you. You'll enjoy it. You'll see some stuff. You can listen to a podcast, possibly this podcast, or possibly this podcast.
I had an argument with someone this week and they said, well, hydrogen, if you crash into it can explode. So I said, well, if you crash into a car with lots of petrol in it, it can explode.
If you crash into a car with some dynamite in the back, it can explode as well. I mean, I don't tend to be driving around the car with a lot of petrol and a large cigar going. I think that's a dangerous thing. I don't drive around with a candle stuck on the dashboard and pour petrol all over the seats. Something's going to happen. But this is the answer. Not electric cars, and I think it's a great idea. And I love the Japanese. I love
hydrogen
cars.
is the way forward.
Hydrogen is the way forward, and maybe. Let's go to our health and safety officer, Simon. Simon, that's what could happen, Richard. Reminds me of a health and safety officer we both used to know. This is a
No.
fire door behind me. It doesn't actually comply to specific regulations. So I
Smoothed
think
his beard.
find that if the door is on fire, then you will die. Yeah, I think the person telling us at the time about how everything was very unsafe was not aware of the fact we were working at the time in a prison, which was pretty unsafe. Not as inmates, purely as guests. Actually, that sounds bad. It sounds like guests. We didn't commit any crime.
Which is pleasure.
We haven't got a record.
I don't know.
Yes.